It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Grant McCagg and Rick Springhetti. Must mean it's
Good
Sunday
morning.
morning. How are you today, Rick?
I'm doing great, Grant. How are you today?
I'm excellent. So you lose some of your arrogance there. You don't look as like your head's as big as it used to be.
I have to be put back into place a little bit, and I guess my computer did it for me.
Perfect. It's nice. I like to, feel like I'm the same size as you. Or it looks a little more aesthetically pleasing, I suppose. And what do you think of
Thank you.
the new banner I got there? Looks okay.
Absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun. It's got like almost a superhero thing, which makes sense. This is the HabsCast. It's the superhero team goes really well together, in my opinion. Both heroes of
Yeah.
common society.
I got in touch with my neighbor drummer in the Cooper brothers, my former neighbor. He moved, and I know Dick Cooper, the kind of the main, one of the Cooper brothers, obviously. So he founded the group, but he's done a lot of jingles and stuff, through the years. And I got in touch with him and I asked him, because I picture having a HabsCast, and it would kind of go with the with the superhero 60s kind of feel to that logo, but a little out of our price range to get it professionally done at this point anyways.
Right.
Probably be $5,000-$10,000 you said to get it
Easily. But we
to
could
get
have
it
had so
done.
much fun with it. We could have had a lot of fun with it. With
I
the
know.
prospect of the week, boom, show up there like those kapow things there.
Yeah, I know, eh? Yeah, we could. Anyway, maybe down the road. You never know. If if people keep watching and supporting, and it keeps growing like it has so far in the first 2 months, never say never. But
Absolutely.
anyway, it's been exciting to get to this point. I really like the new backdrop, the new logo. I have to give a shout out to Mark Elias, alignment design, by the way, if you ever need design work done, who has done a lot of he designed the cover for my draft guides all the time, and he's a big Habs fan, and he'd never charge me. And like, the guy is just he's been super helpful through the years for me, for a lot of stuff. So alignment design, he's a native Montrealer who now lives in California, believe it or not, San Diego. But great guy, has helped me out a bunch, and I'm gonna get his logo and put it up every now and then, and just give him a plug on here, because he's been so helpful to me. But let's get into the game last night.
Yes.
You didn't see it live?
No, woke up early this morning to watch it, like I often do.
Yeah, well, when they beat the Leafs, though, you must kind of wish that you'd have seen it live, right?
It comes to mind often, but not the most exciting game yesterday, mind you, with surprisingly. But again, like you
Right.
said, you don't mind those non-exciting games as long as the results are there. But
Yeah.
my first thought too, Grant, was that these not so exciting games are often a little bit more, in a sense, in the system, not as much in the excitement of it, but they tend to be tighter, defensive, careful games, and this was good for the Habs to play that game and to win it, to get into that rhythm of being careful on your defense, making sure that you're not taking too many chances at the wrong time. And I thought their defensive game was really strong yesterday. Their stick work was really good. They were cutting off a lot of options for Toronto, and man, Kapanen and Slafkovsky in particular are growing so much as defensive players. And you called it. They were both really good in their own zone, and I thought yesterday was probably one of their best games defensively from both of them this year, if not their best game. I was really impressed.
Yeah, well, it was a consummate road win, right? Going into a city, holding the the Leafs after 42 minutes had 10 shots on goal. So that's what you want to do. You want to smother them and keep them from getting shots on net. You could tell. I really think that the Leafs are missing Marner like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
In the past, you'd always get the feeling, oh, Marner's going to friggin' do something. He's going to set up a goal or score one here to get them back in it. And I felt anyways less like that. They just didn't have nearly as many dangerous opportunities as they usually have in the third period. We've seen it happen many times. The Leafs are down to the Habs, and they have that third period, and it's often been triggered by Marner in the past. And I really think just that one key offensive piece missing is it's really hurting them, and it's they're certainly not going to get 108 points this year. I think they're going to be in a battle. It may come right down to the final week for them to even qualify for the playoffs this year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right on about that, and you see that a lot with passionate fan bases where they get really stuck into a phrasing or a point of view that's really limited. So last year was, Marner's not a playoff guy, and you can't win with Marner, and blah blah blah, and you know, the issue to me was always the same thing, is that I don't think that was the biggest issue with the team. Really, is that there's a disconnect sometimes between the offense and the defense with Toronto, where you got some skilled guys that could do things. Then you got that back end where there's basically only Riley that kind of moves the puck well. Everybody else is not really a very good puck mover, so you never get that defense supporting that offense to get these opportunities. So you got a kind of a miscommunication, or kind of a misread between the offense and the defense. And I feel like it's almost gotten worse now, where the team wanted to get so far away from their reputation of being offensive and soft, and now they've really got only too many guys that are just not very good with the puck, or don't do much with the puck. So all they could do is dump it down and try to pound it. But even a team like Florida that likes to pound people into submission, they got skills too, though. They got players that make plays and do things, and that's lacking in Toronto. I don't see where that offense is generating from the back end to try to get into the zone with energy and speed and creativity. There's none of that, and you're seeing a lot less scoring opportunities generally from Toronto, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with you more on that. Just looking at the quickly at the stats here from last night, pretty balanced. Nobody. Couple players had 4 shots on net, or 3 actually. 4 players had 4 shots on net, so they were spreading it out. Josh Anderson had a pretty solid game last night. 4 shots, 4 hits. He was involved. It's nice to see Josh. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen him step up his game some. I like having Gallagher back with those two. Just they played together a lot, and there's familiarity there, right? I think that trio, ideally being together, is a good thing. But Texier, little quieter last night, I thought, than the game before. But then, hey, even if you just have him for you as your shootout specialist, right? He's
Texier. I mean, not the best game, but that shootout goal really made up for it. As we talked about, it was fun to watch. A little bit like Liney too last year, where he came in and it was not the best situation for him personally. He didn't look like he was at his best, and Texier kind of was let go by St. Louis under the same circumstances, and he seems to be smiling a lot on this team. He he was really happy to be there and really seem comfortable. So so far so good. At least he's moving his feet, and if he moves his feet, that's what he's got to do to be effective. So continue doing that, and hopefully good things will happen in the coming weeks.
I think what's encouraging is that it doesn't seem like it matters who you put with Kapanen and Demi. The line seems to play well. So that's a testament to just how good the rookies are already playing, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned Kapanen. Well, that block that he without the stick there was big on Matthews because
Yeah,
he's killed the Canadians a lot in the past late in games when he lost his stick, and then Matthews kind of accidentally kicked it into the corner, and then Cappy says, "Okay, do I go get the stick, or do I kind of try to cover uh, Matthews?" And there was one instance when I'm glad he didn't go get the stick,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
right on.
he blocked the shot, then he went over to the corner, then he kind of took out the guy and picked up his stick at the same time. He's just a really smart player. He
Right,
makes
right, Grant.
he makes such smart plays. And Demidov, I really loved that shift in overtime from a defensive standpoint, where he was kind of
Mhm.
shadowing Matthews, almost got the puck from him 2 or 3 times going up the ice and dogged him. And then in the defensive zone, just the stops and starts, the edges, and how he protected
Mhm.
the net and keeping one of them from getting past him and going to the net for a good chance. It gives you an inkling of what's to come from him from a defensive standpoint. It's the most underrated part of his game because he's got so much offensive dynamism. Um, he's going to be a very solid defensive player too, I think.
Oh yeah, and I think we had noticed that, Grant, when we spoke about it back when he was not drafted and playing in the MHL, where he was just dominating that league. But he still backchecked. He still got involved. He still tried to break up plays, and that was reassuring because he could have just went all offense and
Yeah,
have the time of his life, right? But he wasn't. He was making plays defensively. He was trying.
yeah,
I also too want to point out a play by Kapanen in the first few minutes of the game, that cross ice pass that he blocked and got the puck out of the crease. Didn't seem like a hell of a lot, but he anticipated the play well. He read it well. But Montreal have had such difficulty at the start of the games getting scored on early when they were slumping. And
yeah.
maybe if that leads to a goal, that kind of changes. It does probably change the way the game is played. But it's that kind of intelligence by both of them that's going to make it really, really important. And they may, when you make good reads offensively and you care about your defense, you could transpose those elements to both games because it's reads, it's anticipation. They both work really, really well. If you're really careful and conscious about it, you'll have success. And you got to put in the effort, and they are putting in the effort for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, I mentioned in the post game last night that he had two really big blocks, and that was the other one
Yeah.
that you brought up, that Kapanen, two big blocks. Slav keeps rolling. That's 6 points in his last 5 games, but also just playing an all around game, right? He's 9 points now on the power play too, so that's nice to see that he's producing on the power play, and uh, just doing a lot of little things right. He's just so much more confident now. His defensive play just keeps improving all the time. I just think it's only a matter of time before we start. I'd like to see a penalty killing duo of Kapanen and Slav out there
Yeah.
eventually. I think that
Yeah.
they, I think that they could be really, really good as a shutdown penalty killing pair. What do you think?
I totally could see that, Grant, for the same reasons, right? Both of them make reads, both of them care, both of them take pride in it. One thing too about Kapanen, and maybe not as much Slavkovsky defensively, but I've noticed a lot about Kapanen. He is so active defensively, especially on the penalty kill, with his communication. You see a lot of his hand movements, a lot of
Oh,
his yelling, a lot of his pointing. He
he's
does
always
that
pointing.
so
Eh?
much,
Yeah, I know.
and
Yeah,
and he's involved. And what I love about Slavkovsky is that he's using his size and his reach especially better. And he always gives that second effort. A few times he gets beat. If he does get beat, he backchecks. He uses that stick to break up those plays. He wants to be good defensively, and you got both of them kind of could bring a little bit of a different element to the penalty kill, but they could work together really well. And I think both of them will be a bit of a nightmare for opponents, especially on zone entries. I've noticed that they're really, really good at timing them and keeping them on the outside or breaking up the place with their sticks. And if the opponent can't get into the zone properly on a power play, you know for a while that they'll have a really tough time to
Yeah,
score goals and make things happen because that's what they do well.
yeah. One of the best games from the defense core, I think, last night.
Yeah.
Nobody struggled in general. Carrier has bounced back from. He had a little bit of a stretch there where he
Mhm.
he had about 4 or 5 games where he wasn't great, and I think it, I guess we just expect it from him, and when it wasn't happening for a little stretch, you start thinking, oh, maybe he should be replaced, but uh, he's just he's just he's always seems to be like he's always leading the team in block shots. He just does a lot of little things. He's so competitive and smart, and
Yeah.
just no nonsense defensive defenseman that you need those guys. The veteran presence is good. Um, Carrier, his game has bounced back, and he's looking pretty solid right now.
I think so too. He's maybe back into simplifying to his game. I think there was a little stretch too where he had a few offensive opportunities, maybe, and he kind of tried to push that little aspect of his game a little bit without enough success. He was losing the puck a little bit, getting out of position a little bit. He kind of simple to get back to being simple. As we said, he's really quick because of his. He's a rather good skater. He kind of gets into position really quickly, and he'll never overpower anybody. But the one thing about him is, although he's not the biggest guy, he gives the opponent a battle. Like he's not going to make
Oh,
it easy for them.
yeah,
He might not win it at the end, but he'll give enough time for his teammates to set up and be ready to defend, which is what you need sometimes. You're not going to win every battle, but if you make it hard, at least you give your teammates a chance to get into position, get ready for the play. He's playing the puck carrier a little bit more aggressively too. I've noticed he's not being as
yeah.
waiting as much, and by doing that, again, he's just breaking up a lot of plays, which is what he does best. Break up the plays, moves the puck simply, get the puck going on the other side. That's what he does best, and that's really helpful to a guy like Jacky who can get overwhelmed at times. So you don't want him. You don't want Jacky running around in his own zone too much. What you want is simple defense, box it in, keep the guys on the outside, move the puck safely. And when he does that, Jacky also becomes a lot more effective because that's his game. That's what he does. That's what he's more comfortable doing.
Yeah, I think that Carrier is the right partner for him. And Struble and Hudson had a very solid defensive game. You didn't notice
Yeah.
him out there. Usually you
No.
notice Hudson, but all he did was just play a really smart defensive game last night.
Yeah.
Not making any risky plays. Always getting his he broke up a lot of he gets his stick in the right spot, and the positioning is he's such an intelligent player. And I like a road game like that. I think he's reeled it in a bit and said, okay, let's just get the win out here. They don't need me to, you know, drive the offense. It helps when they're not letting in goals and you get behind. Then you see
Yeah.
them taking more risks and because they need a goal, right? But they held the lead for most of the game, and he adjusted accordingly and just played a really solid defensive game, which is very under his defensive game. I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the league. It's just how good he is defensively.
And I like the fact that he uses his what people call a disadvantage as a strength, right? He almost lowers his body a little bit when he engages physically, and he gives with that low center of gravity, the opponent can't really get a handle on him, so he just kind of steals the puck away a lot there. Or what
Yeah.
he does well too, I find, is he pins the stick a lot against the boards when he's going there, right?
Oh,
So he gets
yeah.
between the player and the puck, moving the stick, holding him on the outside, and then just moving the puck. And his passing ability is good enough under pressure that he could quickly find an open man and again get possession back that way. Super smart, and same thing as Carrier. He doesn't win every battle, but he fights for every battle, and he forces the opponent to take the time to take him on. And there's some guys, some bigger guys who have learned the hard way that he's not an easy battle against the boards. He makes life miserable for opponents sometimes.
There has to be so many guys that whispered under their breath, "You little bastard." So many, because he's just wily and super competitive. And I think pound for pound, he's strong. Like he's a strong, he wins more puck battles against guys 50 pounds heavier than you'd expect. And just, and part of it's his quickness too. He just, he gets in there so quick and gets his stick in there in the right positioning and surprises bigger guys all the time, where they probably think, oh, well, I'll be able to protect the puck against this little shrimp. And no, you're not. He's gonna take the puck from you. He had a lot of puck steals, and he wins a lot more battles than you would expect for his size.
I think we might have found a new nickname for him, Grant. The HabsCast, HabsCast team, the little bastard.
Yeah, LIL apostrophe bastard.
Yeah, no, you're spot on about that, Grant. And that's why people get frustrated when they take him on. Not only the shiftiness of his skating, which we've seen piss off a few opponents, but defensively he's so quick, right? And he's so there's so little hesitation to his game that he's never caught flat-footed. Like he's always in movement when he's attacking the puck carrier or making that defensive play. So he's always got that speed element, and that's just fantastic. And the great thing is there's no reason to think he's not going to get even better as he gains more and more experience. It takes 4 or 5 years in the NHL to be the total package that you're going to be defensively. So I really think that we haven't seen the best of Hudson yet defensively, for sure.
Yeah. Nice to get 2 straight impressive performances from a goalie. It's been a while that's happened. Dobie, his last 2 games, Jakub Dobeš has been pretty solid. Obviously, one of the questions, the fact that they played 3 games in 4 nights, I guess, eliminates the possibility that they come back with Dobeš again tonight, back to back. It's a big game against Tampa on Tuesday. They want him obviously to play that game.
Yeah.
So you expect Monty to be in nets tonight?
Yes, 100%. And I think, I know it's a bit frustrating because he really has struggled a lot this year, and it's been a major problem for the Habs. But you have to be also realistic. Dobeš is not going to be in nets for the next 25 games in a row. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to put Monty in there somewhere, unless you call up somebody from Laval, which is an whole other discussion. But if this is your roster, this is the time to put in Monty. You hope that, Balduc and Texier would be, motivated tonight and want to take on some of the load for their teammates and give them I wouldn't say give them a break there, but just giving them a little bit of support this time and want to be a factor.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll happen. But as you said, and from what I've seen, very little of St. Louis, but they're not very high in the standings, and I don't think they're generating much offensively. I think that's been one of the big problems with them this year. So, and if that's the case, maybe this is the time to bring in Dobie Montalvo, sorry, and at one point he's going to have to get his game back.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the time, right?
I just thought of it there. You're speaking. You spoke of Bolduc and Texier, but who's back up with the Blues, eh? Logan Mailloux.
Okay.
So I suspect he'll probably be making his return to Montreal, all right, and playing tonight. Are they going to have a video montage of his 5 games that he played for the Habs or whatever? Hey, he did get a couple points, I think. It, it, uh, Hopefully, if they do, they don't just show the mistakes that he made there. Little video montage of the 4 goals against or 5 goals against. But hey, I would suspect that he played with Fowler last game, and
Okay.
he wasn't actually that bad. Maybe he's probably going to play tonight. I would think
Yeah.
that they'll,
Uh,
and he'll be
yeah.
motivated. I would not be surprised if guess what, he like cranks one, scores a goal. How many former Habs have done that in the
Yeah.
past before, right? But
Well,
will the crowd? I wonder how the crowd will react to Logan Mailloux if they react at all to him, and if he's playing tonight.
I think they might want to react to him just to, they do that. They want to get players off their game. And there's nobody they hate on the St. Louis Blues, right? So they're going to find somebody. It's got to be Mailloux, I would think. If they don't have a Austin Matthews or a Kachuk or something to focus their energies on, or a Scheifele. So I guess it's going to be Mailloux. Uh, you know, One thing about Mailloux that's maybe been a little bit of a struggle sometimes is that he at times he tries to do too much, and he runs around a little bit, especially defensively when he gets a little bit excited. So you're hoping that maybe this will have the wrong effect, right? He's going to want to show too much to Montreal and start running around a little bit in his own zone, make mistakes. Maybe
Yeah,
Montreal could take advantage of that. That's what you hope for the Habs. But no, yeah, he's this. We all know the tools he has, and if he's on top of his game, he's going to be a factor. He could be a factor for St. Louis. So Montreal's going to have to deal with that. But I think they're really going to have to pressure that D, do what they were doing kind of yesterday, which is uh, when you get into the opposing zone, really force the cycle and force them to run around a little bit, because I think there's a few players that maybe defensively struggle a little bit in St. Louis's roster right now, or a few guys that are maybe a little bit older and can't always keep up as well. So you really want to have them running around a little bit, and again, some forwards are just not very, very good defensively on that team, and take advantage of that. I think would be the plan for Montreal, I think, today. But 2 games in 2 days, 3 games in 4 days are never easy, right? Especially one is home and away. I know Toronto's not far theoretically, but those are hard games. But hopefully Montreal will be motivated. They feel good about themselves. They're excited, and maybe if they like Monty, maybe they'll really want to win one for him,
yeah,
get him back on track.
yeah. Well, I'd like them to score a few tonight, but there's a part of me that I hope Logan Mailloux doesn't struggle tonight. Actually, I hope he has a good game, because Habs fans have been pretty harsh on him, especially since and media too, talking about just always about the negative about Logan Mailloux. And I personally, I want him to have a solid game tonight in a loss, but a solid
Yeah.
game nevertheless for Logan Mailloux is my wish. I think all the stuff that happened to him, he got ostracized and vilified for making a what admittedly was a horribly poor decision on his part, but I think he's paid his penance. He you know I've talked to him, I've interviewed him, met him, and he's a really polite, nice, likable young man. And I think he learned uh, from his terrible mistake. And I hope the best for him in the future. And I hope he becomes a solid NHL player for St. Louis. I'm not rooting against him in any way, shape, or form.
I have no feeling. I never met the guy. Hopefully, like you said, hopefully he learned from his mistakes. Like as you said it very well, a terrible mistake that should never have happened. Uh, like if he really does feel bad about it and he's tried to make amends and he's tried to improve as a person, then fine.
Yeah.
Wish him the best. I don't really
Yeah.
know the guy personally. Again, I've never met him. I don't know nothing about him. I don't have any wishes about him one way or another. I just hope Montreal.
Yeah.
Looking at it just from a Montreal centric point of view, and just seeing and imagining what it must be like. I just really hope Monty in particular has a good game tonight. That's more my focus personally right now. Mailloux, well, whatever happens, happens. If he plays
Yeah.
well, great, good for him. If not, whatever. I just
Well,
want the focus to be on the
I think
hockey
it's
game, right?
yeah. Well, no, I mentioned the thing that happened in the past, but it's more about the criticisms of his play that
Hmm.
I thought it was unfair criticism, and you know, big young defensemen don't develop all at the same time. Like, um, that's what upset me over the last
Oh,
couple of
okay.
years was just how much, oh, he's dumb and he'll never play in the NHL. And, you know, I thought it was overblown because he only played 100 friggin' junior games at the end of the day. And you need repetition and time to develop into an NHL defenseman. And I've always kind of been in his corner when it comes to just like with Slav, needing 200 games before he's really in the NHL, before he's really starting to find his game as a big guy that needs experience. It's the same with Logan Mailloux. Like I see him he'll be a second pairing defenseman on St. Louis, but not overnight. It's going to take time. Um, you don't just step into the NHL and you have it figured out defensively because there's just so much to learn. The quickness, the size, the strength are all things that just if you've only played 100 friggin' junior games and be expected to just step in and not make any mistakes defensively.
No.
Montreal fans once again were impatient with a player, and I'm glad, and I hope because I've touted and said, like, you got to be patient. Wait to see on this guy. I hope that he does develop into a solid NHL defenseman, and the all the people that were impatient and harsh on him end up being incorrect, and end up being correct. I guess there's a little bit of selfishness there, but anyway, uh, that because it's been a hot topic through the years, and I really, I like to stress patience with players, with young players, and you know, the fan base I hope will learn from that instead of because if it goes the other way, everyone will see, and then the next guy that comes along that isn't great right off the bat, that's a high first round pick, it'll be the same thing. They won't be patient. They'll be overly critical. It's not easy living in the fishbowl. Like Marner. Basically, the reason why he's gone is the fishbowl in
Yeah.
Toronto. But
Yeah.
Kakaniemi got friggin' I mean, it could not have helped him just not being able to turn on the radio, not being able to turn on the TV, not being able to read a newspaper without the harsh criticism that he received all the time. No, and that was a big major reason why he signed a offer sheet to get the hell out of there to so he didn't have to deal with that anymore. But I really think it hurt his development. The just the it can't it's got to be hard on you. It has to be. Everyone's human. Everyone has feelings. Everyone to please wants to please and wants people to like them. And when you're hated or seemingly hated, that doesn't help your development in the long run. It really doesn't.
No, that's true, and it's today's maybe social media world or just general world where everybody needs
Yeah.
to have an opinion very, very soon, and you could pinpoint like last year. My point of view last year was, I don't think Logan Mailloux's ready yet. I don't think his reads are fully there, and he still has to gain experience. Doesn't mean that'll be a problem in 3 years. You could just say right now, this is what I'm seeing from him. But people are saying right now, this is what I'm seeing from him. It's going to be like that for the next 4 years. He's not a good player anymore, and he's not a good prospect. And it's like, well, wait a minute now. First of all, uh, you do gain experience as you play, and he was playing in Laval, and he was there was aspects of his game that still needed to be worked on, and as you said, guys like especially defensemen. I think Thomas Harley played almost 200 games in
That
the AHL, right?
Yeah, that's the guy I always he played 200 games in the OHL and then 200 in the AHL
Wow.
before he was ready. And then he, look at him. I'm not saying that Mailloux's going to be the next Thomas Harley, but all the pieces are there. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, I think more than anything, is he ever going to be great defensively? Probably not, because there's going to be some brain cramps here and there, just like Mike Matheson.
Yeah.
Has every now and then there's mistakes out there. Doesn't skate like Matheson, but he can be bigger and bring a physical presence that Matheson
Yes.
doesn't. And in that sense, and also I think his offense will get going as he comes along. But may seem like we're harping a little, but hey, it's topical, right? It's the return of one of the most talked about Habs prospects in the last decade that drafted, right? Because first of what happened, the kerfuffle around it, it basically got Trevor Timmins and Mark Bergevin fired, and Paul Wilson, as it turned out, all three. It was the main reason why those guys were all canned. So in the long run, maybe, in one sense, Logan Mailloux might have to be thanked, because it brought it led to the hiring. It led to Hugo and Marty St. Louis and Pascal Vincent and Jeff Molson relinquishing the presidency of hockey operations, which I had been clamoring for quite a few years. So,
Yes.
Things happen for a reason, right? And
Right.
but as I say, I am pulling for Logan Mailloux from a personal standpoint, and just from a empathetic standpoint for him, for his on his behalf. But anyway, we'll see how he plays tonight. If he's -3 and gives up several muffins, turns the puck over to Bolduc, and Bolduc gets a hat trick off of his turnovers, it'll be, oh, what a steal again, right? Because the first week it was like, oh, worst trade ever, best trade ever by the Habs and stuff, because Bolduc started with goals in his first 3 games, and it was like, oh, okay, a little quick maybe to be judging this trade. Let's wait more than a week, right?
Yeah.
So,
But sorry.
Go ahead.
To be fair, I felt it was a heck of a trade for Montreal, just because one was established and one wasn't. But I did also say, but also be careful, because Doug Armstrong, is involved in this organization. He's a really, really good hockey man. So let's be careful a little bit in declaring this a lopsided win too soon. Right now, it looks like a great trade, but we'll find out in 2 years. And that's my initial point, really, for all of this is, it's okay to have an opinion, but just leave that little window of saying, but we'll see. Always keep in mind that what's happening now may not be the same thing in 2 years. And don't be too sure to just declare a player a bust or a success or a superstar or a bum. It changes from year to year, and it can even change on a 10-game basis, right? Some players are terrible, and you think it's over and it's done and we got to do this. And then, well, they get their game back, and then you kind of see the real person. There's just way too much, declarations that are very, very decided and firm, and people don't budge from them, when there's a lot of things that change over time.
Well, interesting that you say it. Right now, it looks like a great trade, because Zach Bolduc's playing on the 4th line, and Logan Mailloux's on the 3rd pairing for the St. Louis Blues. 4th line winger, 3rd pairing right defenseman. I'm not saying I don't think right now the trade looks great for Montreal.
No, right now, when the trade happened, I mean, like at the time of the trade, one had scored 20 goals, one was in Laval. I'm like, yeah, but as you said, later on,
one's a
patient, you see what happens.
One's a defenseman, one's a winger. Which is easier to jump into the NHL to play?
Oh, for sure. Not even
Defense
close.
or wing, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, Logan Mailloux could have played 80 games last year on the wing, if like he could have played Anyway, yeah, it's not. You don't have to be a defensive genius to play on the wing in the NHL, but you better be able to defend to play defense in the NHL, and it takes time as always. Wingers typically, like if you look at the average age of an NHL rookie winger compared to a rookie defenseman, it's probably a couple of years of difference there. So that all has to be taken into account. In other words, we got to wait on this trade, and we'll see. In 5 years, we'll revisit this on a HabsCast when we're a little bit older and grayer and lost a little bit more hair, if that's possible. And we'll we'll revisit this in 5 years, Rick. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I understand that you have a prospect of the week.
Yes, sir, I do.
Draft prospect of the week.
Yes, and we were talking about right-handed defensemen and how hard it is to develop. Well, my prospect of the week is a right-handed defenseman. We are talking about from the Sault Ste. Marie, Chase Reed, right-handed defenseman, 6'2", 190 pounds, and he is taking the league by storm. This week he had a 3-goal game. We're seeing some clips now. This is one of his goals here. Watch this. Boom. Great wrist shot. Great job at the blue line to cut down that play, and a beauty of a goal. Here, I believe, is going to be another one. Bang. One-timer. Perfect aim. Another great goal. Yes, there are a lot on the power play, but he's getting the job done. Here, believe that this is a really nice breakout off the boards. Finds an
Nice.
open man. Really clever. I know it's a set play probably, but he executed it absolutely perfectly. And here, another break. Does a first pass. Play gets broken up. Gets the puck back.
Nice mobility, eh?
Really, really good. Finds the openings and boom, gets the puck back into the zone. Comes back again. Oh, play came back. Got to play some defense. Breaks up the play. Gets the puck on the stick on the puck. Nothing happens. He's just so good both ends of the ice, back and forth. Great mobility, good stick use. Sees the ice very well. Finds the openings. There's so much things he does well, and it was really hard to almost find a fault in his game. And I mean, in earlier games, maybe once in a while he over relied on his skating to take chances, but even that's been a lot better recently. He knows when to go in, he knows when to back off, moves the puck really well. Lateral mobility is fantastic. Shot is great. Passing ability. To me, I can't imagine him not being a top 5 prospect for this year's draft. I think he's got it all. I don't know, Grant. You've seen a bit of him. I'd like to hear what you think of Chase Reed.
Yeah. That one top prospects game against the U.S. where he was on for a couple of goals against, it was a little bit of a blip. Maybe tried to do a little bit too much there in that game, but then ended up scoring that big goal with the assist from Malhotra, right? He's got really nice offensive ability. I think he can play on a power play going forward at the NHL level, but he's also gonna top 4 defenseman all day, I'd say, with first pairing upside as a right defenseman. That's a top 10 for sure. I think him and Carroll's are sort of similar, and take your pick of which you prefer. He's maybe a little taller than Carroll's, and I don't know. Sometimes that 6'2" is kind of a prototypical size, really, right? Like the Miro Heiskanen type size, which is perfect for an NHL defenseman.
Absolutely.
I think it's also the average size of a NHL defenseman, 6'2", right?
Yeah.
But it's a perfect size where you're big enough to play all situations, defend well, but also small enough that you can be a fantastic skater, right? 6'2" seems like it's the optimum height for a prototypical great NHL defenseman. Yeah, he had that hat trick, 11-2 game. You know, it's you don't put too much stock into that, but anytime a defenseman gets a hat trick in his draft year, it's a pretty good choice, I think, for your draft prospect of the week, Rick.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And one thing too about the Sault Marie that's important to remember the games I've seen is they're dressing a pretty young decor. There's I
Yeah,
think 4 defensemen that are draft eligible this year out of the 6. So I think part of Chase Reed sometimes doing too much is for that reason, and then because I think he's successful at it generally in the OHL, and then the top prospects game. Again, it burned him a little bit because I think he underestimated how good the opponent was, and he had to adjust.
yeah,
He did things, he tried things that he could do in the OHL that he can't do at that game, and he figured that out. And
yeah,
you look at what they could do, and that's what he does do very well. Again, there's still some work to be done in him, just not going in too deep sometimes, or not skating around too much, and not think that the whole ice is his playground, but to stay a little bit more in his lane.
yeah,
But what's the famous expression, right? I'd rather tame a wild stallion than to get a donkey to move, right?
yeah. No, well said. Uh, um, yeah, I see him as a top 10 guy for sure, and maybe as you say, top 5. Hey, it's a pretty strong group of defensemen at the top
Yeah.
of this draft. Typically, it's defensemen and centers that dominate the top 10, right? You have to
Mhm.
be a pretty special dynamic winger like Stenberg or McKenna to be in the
Right.
top 10, and obviously th- they're they're the 2 main exceptions this year, but,
Mhm.
all things being equal, if you look at a defenseman versus a winger, you're gonna you're gonna rank the, defenseman higher than the winger
Right.
if you have them ranked, similar, right,
Right.
uh,
Right.
in your list, so he's very much a, top 5 possibility, and, I often wonder, his USHL coach who was sending them down to, the NAHL last year, I wonder if he thinks back like, I may have misevaluated that kid a little bit. Kinda inspired
Sure.
him to come to Sault Ste. Marie, and the rest, as they say, is history, right?
Well, 7th round draft pick too for Sault Ste. Marie, so they're pretty happy with that one, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's working out okay for them, but, Sault Ste. Marie is gonna be, one of the East is pretty strong this year in the OHL. There's some good teams, um, uh, in the East and the West. I think it'll be a really good, um, like Brantford. Bradford's really loaded up, eh? They got Luchenko and Benak came in, and Danford. They're going for it, but Sault Ste. Marie might be a team that ends up playing against them, and it might be a great that could be a great
Oh
uh,
yeah,
final series, right?
absolutely.
Brady Martin it looks great, and but Sue, like you say, they've got a young defense, so it might still be a year away for them, but Brady Martin will probably he almost made Nashville in camp,
Right.
so I don't expect him to be back, but Olympics wise, what do you think? You figure Nick Suzuki pretty hard to keep Nick off the Olympic team at this point. What do you think?
I I can't imagine him not being on that team. It'd be crazy just because, again, you could always move a center to the wing, and you can't do the contrary. You can't move a winger to center. So
Yeah,
even if he comes in as your 3rd line right wing, you could, you have a center playing on that line. You switch the faceoffs if you need be. He can play offense. He could play great defense. Why would you not want a guy that could do so much for your team? If ever you get into an injury situation, well, Nick Suzuki's a fantastic tool to have in your toolbox, right? Because he could do so much with his intelligence. So I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer, but hey, we've been surprised before by Team Canada decision makers, right?
Well, it sounds like Wilson's going to be on the team, so there's one less spot. If they take Cirelli and Hagel because Cooper is the coach, do you take Nick over Celebrini and Bedard? I would, but those two are what, top 5 in scoring, or they were at least. Their future, well, not future, they are superstars now in the league. I'd hate to have to be Doug Armstrong and make those decisions because,
for sure,
regardless of who he ends up leaving off, there'll be condemnation from whatever team has players that I mean there's 30 players that deserve to be playing for Canada at the Olympics, but they can only take 23, so it'll be there'll be some hard decisions down the road.
For sure. But I do think that versatility at some point in the lineup is so important, again, because you never know. Your opponent changes, your injury situation changes. I don't know what's going on with that rink. I'm hearing that it's going to be 3 feet shorter than expected or smaller than expected.
Yeah.
How does that affect things? Is it going to be more of a physical game now? As you said very well, I have my opinions, but I would not want to be in the position of Doug Armstrong to have to decide because it's going to be very, very difficult for sure.
Yeah. Well, if it comes down to Cirelli versus Suzuki, I mean, Cirelli played in the Four Nations. Nick didn't. His coach, John Cooper's his coach, but even John Cooper has to, I think, admit that Nick Suzuki's a better hockey player than Anthony Cirelli is right now. He can do defensively what Anthony Cirelli can do for you. Nick wasn't the second line center on 2 cup winners, and I get that he's a winner and he's a proven winner, but Nick has carried teams that had no business. Like he did it in junior, he did it with the Habs as a rookie center, where he led them as a first line center to the Stanley Cup Finals. I would take, Doug Armstrong would have to say, look, it's my decision, and you have to tell Anthony Cirelli that it was up to me, not up to you. And, and he's got to understand that we got to take the best team possible and no hard feelings, because that's got to be tough. A coach is going to want his guys. He knows what Anthony Cirelli can do for him. He wants him on the team, I'm sure, but there'll be some fantastic, because I'm sure John Cooper will be in on the process, and when they're picking the final roster, he'll be there, contributing, but there could be some heated debates between that group when it comes to, maybe not heated, but debates anyways, with trying to finalize that roster, especially if Celebrini and Bedard are on it, and Wilson. Well, you're running out of names here. Are you going to take off who else? Seth Jarvis, I guess, would be another guy that would be. He's got 16 goals, or did a few days ago, so he's playing really well too. He's hard to leave off the roster too. But if it came down to Seth Jarvis or Nick Suzuki, I would maybe some Habs bias here, but because Nick can play, well, he's a center that can also play on the wing, but I think he's a perfect guy to have as a third line center on the Canadian Olympic team.
I agree. And it's a really good point you bring up about Doug Armstrong maybe having to tell John Cooper that, listen, I'm taking the decision out of your hands. I'm taking this on my shoulders. I'll even tell Cirelli if you need, I'll be the one to break the news if need be. But it is my roster, and I have to really put my foot down. Hopefully, no, not hopefully, but it might have to come down to that for Nick to get on that roster. But I agree with you. I think he should be on that roster just for the versatility he brings. And it's such an important, because you're going to have that offensive power anyways. You're going to have that scoring anyways. Especially even from the back end, you're going to get scoring, but you do need somebody who could do the two-way game. And you get defense from Nick Suzuki, but you get also some really good offense, and he's got a great shot. I don't see why he shouldn't be on that team. But again, a good player is going to be off, and it's going to be a very tough decision for the decision makers on this one.
Well, on the other hand, if it comes down to them saying, well, Nick's not playing much on the PK, hardly at all this year. Cirelli is, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure that he's a main penalty killer for Tampa. And they could say, well, because of that, we're gonna and because of his coach, we're gonna take him over Suzuki. But I'm telling you, a lot of Canada and obviously Montreal would not be too happy if Nick Suzuki was ultimately left off of Canada. Sure. So again, I wouldn't want to be in Doug Armstrong's shoes, and kudos to him for even accepting the job, because man, it's sorry. It's like refereeing, it's sorry job. Well, let's get to the Habs prospect of the week. And surprise, surprise, it is Bryce Pickford, defenseman with the Medicine Hat Tigers. Now, let's rewind that right to the very start.
All right.
His shot is just, Rick. I said it after watching his video after he was drafted and putting out a video. But he's got 20 goals in 28 games. He's on pace for 47. 2 goals, and then last night 3 goals. So 7 goals in 3 games this week. His shot is just, it is safe to say elite. And it's not just his slapper, it's his wrister, as we just saw there, right?
Yeah.
And there it is again, boom. The release is great. The velocity is outstanding. But it's this accuracy. It's just letter perfect. The kid picks the corner all the time. Look at that move, eh?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's an OT. So he scored game winners. I mean, it's he wears the C. He's great defensively. He's minus 20 or plus 28 in the plus minus. So second in the league. He's second in the WHL in goals and second in plus minus.
Fantastic.
When you talk about guys that you just don't know, how can they be left off of teams? He's got to be invited to the World Junior Camp. He just has to be. Now, I'm not saying that he'll make the team, but at this point, Rick, he's got to be an invite to the camp.
It'd be insane if he wasn't. I mean, this is a guy that's doing it all for his team, and this is not the same Medicine Hat team in the past. They've lost a heck of a lot of good players.
Oh, yeah.
And he is still getting this team on his back, almost pulling them up. And you talk about a shot, Grant. I mean, everything you said was spot on. What always surprises me is how quick that release is. There's no windup almost. It's like barely a flick of the wrist that's barely visible, and it's a bullet.
Look at this.
It's fantastic.
But it's like right, perfect. His accuracy, I dare say, I don't know. I can't think of too many defensemen, in NHL history even, that have a better shot than what this kid has. It's just, there's guys that have had harder shots, but his accuracy is just, from the blue line with the velocity, the accuracy and velocity combination of hit. Look at this one. Now there'll be an angle here. Like you can't see the puck till it hits the back of the net here. But then it's absolutely top corner, like, basically off the crossbar and the post at the same time. Like,
And
that
it
is
looks
just,
like it's off his back leg, Grant, too, eh? It looks like he's almost off balance when he shoots.
oh no, I just, the NHL scouts like a player to have an elite quality.
Mhm.
And if they do, then it just helps them so much. But his shot, it's the best shot I've seen in a draft eligible prospect since I started drafting
Wow.
or started scouting. It's the
Wow.
best shot. I have not scouted a defenseman that has a better shot than Bryce Pickford. So the Canadians got themselves a steal in the third round again, just like Fowler. And I think he has to be invited to the World Junior Camp. Like, Dickinson, Perek, blah blah blah. He's playing better than all of these defensemen that bigger name recognition, higher picks. He's outplaying them all. So you gotta invite him. And if he doesn't make the squad, fine. You like to go with guys that have been there before. I get it, but um, he's. I don't know if Aitchison scored goals this weekend. He had 18 going into the weekend, but I think now with 20, unless Aitchison scored 3, and I didn't check, but I think Pickford leads all CHL defensemen in goals. He's second in the WHL in plus minus. He hits. He's mobile. He's got some jam to his game. He plays 240 a game on the penalty kill. In addition to running the power play. So he's got to be an invite to the camp. They're going to take a few extras, make a few cuts, presumably, like they did last year. You got to, at this point, you have to invite him to the camp.
I agree. Everything he does, you said everything you could think about: offense, defense, team captain, leading in everything, pulling the team off his back and leading them. What more can you want from a player? And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, name recognition means something. You're a top 10 pick, you get the invite. You're a top 15 pick, you get the invite. And Bryce Pickford is not. But if you're just looking at what he's doing, I agree with you, Grant. You've said it best, better than I could have said it. He should be at least invited to the training camp and get an opportunity to show what he can do in person to the decision makers.
Yeah. And he looks like he has first NHL power play potential. Now he's coming to an organization that has 360-point scoring defensemen, in their past. Obviously, Hudson's running the power play. Dobson, who had 70 points a couple of years ago, is on the second power play. Reinbacher has power play potential as well, but I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that someday we see this kid as the power play quarterback on the Montreal Canadiens. As crazy as that might sound with Lane Hutson on board, Lane does not have that shot, and it's going to be such a weapon on the Canadiens if and when he makes the team. I think he's pretty much a lock to be one of the 3 defensemen at some point. Dobson, Reinbacher, and Pickford on the right side. But he, like, Lane Hutson has 6 power play points this year. That puts him, I don't know, about 100th in the league. He's not, it's a bit surprising, but 1 goal, 5 assists. This kid on Montreal's power play in the future, with Demidov feeding him, with And even if Caulfield's a great passer, Suzuki, Slav, they all move the puck really well. This kid could score 10 plus on the power play, I think, in the future in the NHL with that shot. So it's going to be tough to keep him off the first power play in the future. Now, maybe they even look at Hudson and him. I know it's not the fashion to have two defensemen on the power play, but when you've got somebody, the jitterbug with all of the playmaking ability of Hudson and the guy with that shot, that might be a possibility down the road too, where you just say, well, we have no choice. We've got to have both these guys on the first power play. But at the very least, he's going to be on a second power play. Like Dobson does not have this guy's shot. He doesn't get it through. He's got as hard a shot, maybe, but it's not nearly as accurate and as effective as this kid's shot. So at the very least, he's going to be, I think, an NHL defenseman that is really productive on the power play. And it wouldn't shock me if down the road he's running Montreal's first power play.
Anything could happen, as we always say. Wait a few years, but man, what a pick, Grant! And thanks for putting that video together, because that's exciting to watch if you're an Habs fan, to see that kind of potential and that kind of offensive skill. And his skating has gone way better too in the past since the beginning of last year till now. You've seen that improvement. He's shiftier. He's got a little burst of speed. You saw one of those plays where he beat the guy on the outside. He got a little extra shot he needed to get open. So he's got so many tools, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. And I did I could have done a full video here, but I did one last week. And you just go to our YouTube channel, Recruits HabsCast, and you'll see it. I put it up for free. A video breaking down his shifts in a game, and it shows his defensive play. He got in a scrap. His goalie got tripped up, and he came in and pounded a guy. All of his defensive plays, notable defensive plays and offensive plays, and his physicality. It's all in that video. So go have a look. I think it's 12 minutes long, so not as long-winded as we are there, Rick. And speaking of which, we're almost up to 70 minutes here, so I think we'll wrap it up here. Sunday, we got things to do, right? You got all your Christmas shopping done, Rick?
I only have one more gift to do, my friend, but I started back in November.
Yeah, well,
I hate shopping. I just want to get it done. So every year I do some in November. I'm sure you did everything also, right? You're done with your Christmas shopping, buddy?
You're sure? Yeah, okay. I used to be last minute Larry, December 23rd, I'd start to, guess I better do some Christmas shopping, but I've gotten a little better with that because, these Black Friday deals and stuff, right? It's hard to, I try to get a couple of things that week, and I did so I'd say 80% done. And I'll get her wrapped up and my gifts wrapped up over the next week or so. Okay, Rick, thanks as always. And you're going to be available for a post game over what about tomorrow or tonight? Are you available tonight?
No, tonight I'm going to be seeing my mom for a few hours and just spend time with her. I don't see her as much as I'd like. But definitely Tuesday or Thursday, one of those two games, I'd love to be on the post-game show and talk hockey with you.
Good.
And the great people that follow the show.
All right, Rick. Have a great Sunday. Say hi to your mom and thank you, folks. And we'll see you hopefully tonight after the Blues go down to the Habs 7-2. There's my prediction. Okay. Thanks, Rick, and have a good day.